Hi, Heather here. Welcome back to my channel, Creativity by Heather B. And I wanted to show you this card I created using this awesome background. So I created this thank you card, and you'll see I've got this kind of just random lined background, and I want to show you today how I created that. It was so easy and so much fun. So we're going to recreate this card, but I'm going to change it up as far as the colors go. We're going to use some different colors, but basically make the same card. So the way that I did this background was by using rubber bands. So simple. So what I did is my son has a whole bag of rubber bands, and so I raided them and wrapped them around my lawn fawn block. And you can wrap these any way you want. So I could have some going this way if I wanted to. I actually put one over top of the wide one. You could just leave the wide one. I suggest you get different sizes as far as widths and thicknesses, just to give it a little bit more visual, where it's kind of a little offset and changed. You'll see some of them kind of twist on each other. So what I'm going to do is we're going to ink these up and then just stamp them on, and that's what's going to make this gorgeous background. So let's get started. So I have a piece of Neenah Solar White, and this is 80 pound. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse the colors that were on this one. And because what I used here, I used all Lawn Fawn inks. So this is Guava, and then the grays is Hippo, and the yellow is Sunflower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it up, and I'm going to do the Guava for the flower, and I'm going to do the Sunflower for the background. So I've got my little Lawn Fawn cubes here, and I'm going to use Sunflower, and we're going to need Hippo, and then I've got the large Guava. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just set the block, and you can decide which side you want. I actually want to stamp up this side here. And I tell you, it looks like when I was doing it that you're not getting much ink on it, but you actually are, and when you stamp it out, you'll see. So we've got it, and I'm going to just go in different directions, some of them coming off. Just push it down. And there we go. So you can see the different designs, and if you want to, you can always change them. So I want these to be spread out a little bit more. So I'm gonna just pull that out and re-ink it. You can be creative as you want with this. You can change it every time to make it look different. It's completely up to you and your creativity. So take another one. Down over there. You could also ink these up in different colors. You could do it with Versamark water ink and then go back in and heat emboss it. There's so much stuff you can do with this, and so simple. Such a cheap way to make a beautiful background. Ooh. So I'm just going to keep stamping it up. So I'm just continuing to stamp it up, and you'll see the ink is on the rubber bands, and I'm going to go a little bit off the side. Continue to just fill up my background until I have it the way that I want it. So very simple, easy to do. It's really however you want it, which is the fun thing about doing a background this way. So I'm just going to put a little bit up in the top area there where I've got the two lines. It looks a little bit too uniform for me. I like it to be a little more random. So now that I've got it stamped out, I'm going to take my stamp chamois and just wipe them clean, and you'll see how easy. So if you're wanting to switch colors in between, it's very easy to do. Take a stamp chamois, a cloth, wipe it off, ink it up, and you can go to another color. So the flower that I did,
I have the leaves around it. I actually already stamped and cut those out just to save time. And I'm using the Lawn Fawn blooms, and I love this die set. These are some of the flowers that I've inked and stamped up and just had extras. So I stamped it up in the Lawn Fawn fresh cut grass, die cut those out, and I'm just going to put those around my large flower. So for my flower, I'm actually using a flower from the new Concord and Ninth Petals and Palettes, which is a fabulous set. I can't wait to create with this. And so I used the large flower in the bottom, and I'm going to ink it up with the Lawn Fawn Guava ink. I love this flower. It's so large. I'll put it on my Lawn Fawn block. And you'll see there's a coordinating die with this flower. So I'm going to ink it up, and you're going to notice here in a minute when I ink it up that it's going to jump and there's going to be two of them on. The first one I inked up, it didn't come out very well, so I just skipped that part of the video so you didn't have to watch it. I really should have probably used my Misty. This was the only thing I was stamping out, and I really just did not feel like getting it out, but it probably would have saved me a lot of time. So you're going to see here in a moment there's about to be two flowers on there. There's the other one. So that's the one that I didn't ink up very well. So I just did a bottom one, and I'm going to die cut that out using my Big Shot machine. And these dies are really easy to line up as well. So I've got it cut out, and I'm going to set that aside. And I had a little bit of ink from the rubber banding on my mat, and I didn't want to get it on the back of my my paper. So I'm going to start to line up where I want the leaves to be. And I'm going to go ahead and glue those down because I'm not going to give them any dimension. And I'm using the Nuvo glue pen, and I have to say I bought this on Friday and I love it. It adheres so well. It's not real runny. I love this pen. So I'm sticking down my leaves, still lining it up with my large flower. And I'm going to put the last one at the top on the right. Okay, so now that I've got my leaves in place, I'm going to set my flower aside for just a moment. And I'm going to begin to ink up my butterfly. So I'm going to use a butterfly from the same Lawn Fawn stamp set. And I love this butterfly. It's got 3 different layers to it. So you've got the antennae and the body, and then the wings, and then the area over top of the wings. So I'm going to stamp the antenna with Lawn Fawn Walnut. And then I'm going to use Hippo for the wings, and I'm going to do Guava for the design on the wings. I originally had stamped this out with the sunflower for the design on the wings, and you really couldn't see it very well. It kind of faded into the hippo. So I switched it out and did the wing design with the guava, which still matched the card. So I'm stamping that out, and there's a coordinating die for this. So I'm going to go ahead and die cut it. Love having coordinating dies. I say this in so many of my videos. I'm such a lazy crafter when it comes to fussy cutting. I don't like to do it. I'm not good at it. I love dies. So now I've got the thank you, and I cut this out of Lawn Fawn Sunflower using the Tim Holtz Sentiments kit, and I just cut the thank you. And I actually cut it out 3 times because I wanted it to have some dimension and layering. And so I've got all of them on except for this last U. And I found the easiest way to line these up is to turn the word over and layer it from the back. However, when I was gluing this one, I realized that I glued the back of the word, but it still worked out okay. This is a great way to give your die cut words dimension without having to use foam or trying to get some type of foam tape small enough behind it. Is to just cut out several layers and then glue them together. So my card base, I'm using Lawn Fawn Guava. I love Lawn Fawn papers and inks. They're some of my favorites. I love the way they coordinate so well. They've just got great, bright, vivid colors. I've never had any issues with the inks. Just love them. So when I put my panel on, which I have cut down, it was a 4 1/4 by 5, and I cut a 1/4 inch off of each side. You'll notice it's a little bit crooked, so I'm just gently picking it up and I'm going to put it back on. Now there will be some adhesive where I had to move it over, so all you have to do is, if you have an adhesive eraser, just use that and it'll get that adhesive right up. So sometimes, as crafters, we all mess up, and it's great to have those little tips on how to do it without having to waste the paper and getting a new piece. So just move it over, use your adhesive eraser, and you're good. So I'm popping this up, the flower up with some foam tape, and I'm just showing you there. Whenever I have extra pieces, I always just stick them. I have the large roll. I used to buy the small ones, and I realized I was using it so much, I finally just broke down and bought the big one, and it's been probably one of the smartest crafting things I've done. And when I do butterflies, I like to cut the foam tape, if I'm giving them dimension, in a triangle, and they seem to fit on the wings a lot better and easier that way. It's just been an easy way instead of trying to get them small enough. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere my flower to my panel. I just love the way the guava and the hippo colors go together. I just think it looks so nice. I actually like this card better than the first one. So I'm adhering my butterfly, and I chose to put the butterfly over on that left side because I didn't want it to cover up the leaves that I have on the right, and I just wanted it to kind of balance it a little bit. So I'm using my Nuvo glue pen, and I'm going to adhere the U. Now I will put just a white panel on the inside to write a note on the inside of this. I didn't do it on camera, but it is something I would add because the cardstock is the guava. So I'm going to take a Wink of Stella pen and go over everything. Now you'll see there's some Nuvo drops, white Nuvo drops sitting there. In the original card, I used yellow Nuvo on just the center flower, and I decided for this one I didn't want to do that. I wanted to just use, add some shimmer to it and just kind of leave it alone. So I didn't end up actually using the white Nuvo drops that are there. So I'm using my Wink of Stella pen, and I have the Wink of Stella, and I also have the Spectrum Noir, and I like them both. I like the Spectrum Noir, as you see I just switched to it, to use over words. I'm not crazy about using it completely on images because sometimes it tends to run out a lot and puddle, and it can cover up your images sometimes. So I like to use it over words and then just kind of use it sparingly on my images. And that's the completed card. So much fun. I'm so excited. Please leave comments, go to the blogs, show me pictures of what you've created with your backgrounds. I think this is just so much fun. I will do a couple more with some heat embossing. So that is the card for today. I hope you learned something. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments, and have a fantastic day. Thank you.